Hello, I'm Cammy G, and welcome back to our Endurance AFK builds. We are in Plankerton here at Amplifier A. Obviously, this might be a different letter for you, but this is the South Amplifier, just to the south of the home base, as you can see on the map. Now, I have two spawns for this. Again, this could be different depending on where you place your amplifiers. So there is an amplifier over there, which is the southeast one. So if you have one placed there, you won't have a spawn here, but I do. But for the south, they do spawn around about this area down here. Quite a wide spawn. So there's a few ways they can try get up to the amplifier. So as you may have noticed, there is this ramp here, which is sort of a side direction up this ramp. So the ones that spawn over here are probably going to want to go down there. So what we'll need to do is block off that, obviously that flank. But the main thing we're going to go for is letting the enemies come up this ramp here, straight towards the amplifier. Plenty of room to do damage here. You know, we're in Plankerton. It's really not too difficult to do enough damage. The main thing is that endurance. Because there are less amplifiers, they get attacked a bit more. So we can start by blocking off some of the flanks here. So as I say, they spawn down here. Now there is a flanking route here they could take. So we'll just block this off. If you are seeing that this isn't enough, you know, you can just place a bit extra, like this. And then you can do the grid method behind, as we have in the past. Basically, all we're doing is just pointing these cones towards where they would come up. The one on top of the ramp you can just place as a flat cone. You could edit it, you know, in a certain direction if you want, but the flat cone will work fine. And then that should cover this flank. If you are seeing any more, you know, aggression, you can block this ramp here off, but you should be okay. As I say, it is just Plankerton, you know, you're not really going to see too much heat. We need to block this ramp here, which is just next to where they will be going towards the amplifier. Again, put a cone on top, and if you do see any, you know, enemies trying to break through here, you can just, again, add more blockage at the top. I don't think you would need to add cones behind this. I really don't think you would need it, because at this point when the enemies are here, you can block that side as well actually, but when the enemies are here, it's a pretty straight shot to the amplifier. You know, they're not really going to want to go flanking round. We will have traps in this area anyway as well, so it will block them, you know, from trying to do anything there. So this ramp here is quite wide, so what we're going to do is bring them up the sides and then bring them forward here. So what we will do is block off this center one, like so. You might not need the cone on top, but we're going to add it on top anyway. And then as they come up the ramp, we can do some damage. Now, the thing you might want to do here is add a bit more blockage to this. Get that face that way. That should be plenty, and then we've got this bit blocked off as well. The reason being is we're bringing them up here. We don't want them to want to break out to this side or up that ramp, for example. But the beauty of this is we can add a wall launch on here, send them back out. You could even move this further back if you wanted. So what we will do is we will have ceilings here, which will go over the spawn. If we get rid of that wall as well. Now, what we can do is have the wall there instead, because we're going to be putting wall darts on these walls to hit them as they come up the ramp, so it can be quite far away, and then the further away it is, the further the husks can go when they're hit with the wall launcher. So that's the reasoning for that. And then you're going to want, well, we've got the walls built for it, but just a note here, you're going to want sound traps on these as we go up, but you know, I'll cover that when we place the traps. So yeah, the spawn's quite wide, so you can go pretty far back with this, and because we are in Plankerton, you know, there's fewer amplifiers to build for. We don't need as much structures remaining for the other builds, so we can go pretty extended with this. And it's also going to act as a lobber shield. So down here, for example, we want to cover a bit of it, and we'll cover over here. Reason being is flingers and lobbers could go down here and then aim at the amplifier, so this acts as a shield for that. While we're over here, we can go ahead and block off this other ramp that I mentioned earlier. So we're just going to stop them here. Edit my cone to be normal again. Block from the bottom. I wanted to avoid placing an extra wall, but it did it anyway. And then, you know, again, if you see any sort of aggression at the bottom of the ramp, just add extra, you know, like this, for example. Add extra blockage. I think it should be fine without it. But what you can do anyway is you could extend these ceilings round if you wanted, or just put a ceiling here, for example, with, you know, damage traps on. Probably want to block the side of that ramp as well. You know, as I say, you can put ceilings here to block that. But we will probably block the bottom of this anyway. Or from here, block it. Because we don't want enemies that spawn down here to be able to wander off wherever they please, because they could go here, aim at the amplifier, for example. So what we'd want to do is block them from being able to do that. Now, where you do that from is up to you, but I think from up here is the best way to do it. So if we just do that, like so. Then the only places they can spawn is in this courtyard. This acts as an extra blocker for this ramp, so you probably don't need all this. You could just leave that one on, just in case. But yeah, they don't spawn any further down than this, so we should be fine. And then, as I say, for the ceiling, if you really want to, you could extend this over one more. From here, I don't think they can get an angle because we have blocked it. But if you do notice them being able to get an angle, because, you know, things change or whatever it may be, please just, you know, add that. Now, once more for here, you can add these ceilings. This will cover this ramp. You're probably going to put a wall on the side of that as well. Meaning that we can add, you know, drop traps on this to affect stuff that might try break through there. There is another way up over here. So we're just going to block this. It's quite a lot of flanking routes in Plankerton, which is what really messes you up on Endurance. You know, if enemies can find a flanking route or even just one flinger, because the waves go on for so long once you get to a certain point, it really messes you up. So we want to go over the top with these and really block every single ramp here. So this is just next to that one. And then if you really want, you can just add a wall there just to stop anything from being able to get through. As I say, the main thing here is stopping enemies from being able to flank round. So adding that stuff stops that from happening. And then you could put a ceiling over that if you needed to. I think wall darts would be wooden wall spikes would be enough. So I'm going to leave that at that. And then for here, you can go one further back with this spawn damage if you want. So we're going to do that here. It's up to you how far back you want to go. If you have loads of structures at the end and you wish to place more over the spawn, feel free to go another layer back. Over here, you could add one more. I don't think they can fling from here. But, you know, there's not really anywhere they can get up. And then this is coming into the territory for the spawn or the other amplifier. But if you wanted to stop them from being able to get up here, you could block these ramps to stop them from, I don't know, standing here. But I really don't think they would or could aim at the amplifier. But we can add anti-air stuff over the amplifier when it gets to that anyway. Right, so that's a lot of stuff. And we've barely even built the, you know, actual trap tunnels here. So let's go ahead and build them. So, as I say, we're going to bring them straight through here like this, right towards the amplifier, like here. And what we can do is this. The reason why we're adding this at the back of the tunnel is it stops smashers from wanting to charge as much, but it also just gives it that extra bit of, you know, structural support. And then the wall here, we can put a wall launcher on. Now, what you can do if you want is when you've brought them to this point, you could block it like so. That means you can put a wall launcher here to send them further back. As I say, there's always multiple ways you can do it. So you could, for example, block them here and then make them go around here and then block them again here and bring them forward. As I say, there's so many different ways you can do trap tunnels in Plankerton. It's a lot more forgiving, obviously, than Twine. Twine is very specific in how you can make it AFK, because it's just a harder area. So, For this area, you could either block this like so, to stop enemies from wanting to break through this wall here. What we're going to do, though, is just leave this open, and we can also do it there as well. We'll hold off for the ceilings for now, because we're going to place ceilings higher up. So that's the reasoning for that. But this, we can do that with the floor. And then over here, as we go towards the amplifier, we'll place walls further away to do wall darts. Then on this, we'll place a floor for extra structural support. And then we'll get our low walls going like this. This one's not too important. You probably don't even need a wall there. That's up to you. We block this corner off with low walls. Same with this one. And then what we can do is add the floor as extra blockage. For this one, I'm actually going to change this real quick to a full wall. The reason being is we can put a wall launcher on this to send them back here, and then they'll get sent back once again. And it also means enemies are less invited to, try break out here, and we can use this space to block like so. Didn't mean to place that one. Stops enemies from wanting to break out the side of the trap tunnels, because we definitely don't want that. Yeah, definitely don't want that. Back here we can get the low walls going. And then what we're going to do at this point is we're just going to allow them to come through. The reason being is if we allow them a gap to get through, I mean, no enemies are going to make it to this point anyway. But the reason being is if we give them a gap that they can walk through, you can even just add like a wall like that to make their trip extra long. But yeah, if I can get to the reason being before interrupting myself again. The reason being is because if we block it, then enemies are less likely or more likely to want to break out of the trap tunnels to go around to the side or something. Whereas if we give them a nice route where they can just literally walk into the amplifier, they will definitely want to just walk down here and, won't take any unnecessary, routes out or anything like that. Perfect. So at this point, all we need to do is add the ceilings. So what we're going to do is build up like so. Oops. And then the ceilings are going to be high over this. The reason being is tire drop traps are going to knock enemies back as they come through. And then at the sides of the trap tunnels, we can use ceiling electric field to have damage zap inwards. So there's a bit more room for experimentation. So for example, like here, you can add an extra roof. There, ceiling electric field here will zap in. You can go a bit further out with it. Like over here, you can put roofs here because these will zap into the tunnels for the enemies that are walking here. You could even go as far as putting one there if you want. You don't want to go too overboard with it. By that meaning, you don't want to make it so that I'm just going to add a little connection here just to connect those. But yeah, if I can think of words. You need to save structures for your other builds, obviously, but as I say, in Plankerton, we have quite a lot to play with. So it's up to you if you want to strip any of it back. It is pretty over the top, this, for Plankerton. But, these builds are meant also for people who have not gold perks and everything. They might not have full durability on their traps, that type of thing. They might not have Machinist Harper, to have the extra durability on the traps, that type of thing. Now, what we're going to do for the amplifier is we're going to build walls on these outside bits, like so. And then if I can jump up here, probably easier to place it from here. We raise it like this. Like this. Took me a while to decide how I wanted to build the actual build over the amplifier. Because, we want to leave it sort of open so that enemies can just walk in through the main tunnel. But at the back here, we want to close it fully off because we don't want enemies to be able to land, say, here from a flinger or whatever and then walk in. So this stops them from being able to do that. Obviously, we're leaving this bit open here so that enemies can walk in. But if we close that side off, it stops any enemies from wanting to flank round and just walk in. So the only bit you want to allow in is here, which means over here we want to block this off. Whether you do it, you know, where you block it's up to you, but I'm going to block it there. And then this build at the top allows us to put anti-air traps or wooden floor spikes if there are any enemies that do make it in from flingers. It just allows us to deal with that. So that should be everything you need. Obviously, keep an eye out for any update videos as I thoroughly test these afterwards, as updates come out, that type of thing. But yeah, I'll go ahead and level all this metal up, and then we can place the traps, so I will see you very shortly. All right. Now that you've got that stuff leveled up to tier 3, obviously not as important as, say, twine, but it is still important with certain modifiers and such to, you know, level this stuff up. We can start at the amplifier here. So as I say, I think it's important to have an anti-air trap here. You can put more as well, say, you know, here, just in case. And then on these side ones, what we're going to do is place wooden floor spikes. So place wooden floor spikes. This just means that if any normal husks do land here, they're going to take damage and die before they can break through. Ideally, you'd have like healing on this stuff, you know, just in case, but it help. At the same time, we're not expecting many things to happen. This is just an in case. Yeah. Now, at the objective, we don't need a full durability launcher. We're going to go for the general build launcher, and then you can even put one here if you really want, but as I say, I don't think anything's going to make it to this point. So for the floors, as we go through here, we're going to place tar pit traps pretty much on all of these. For the start here, we will go for wooden floor spikes. And what you can do here as well, if you want, is add, you know, this sort of extender here, or you can go for a thin wall. The thin wall might be better just because they don't have as far to go, and it incentivizes them less to try and break through the walls. So you can add those in if you want, and you can add them in other places, you know, like all the way through this whenever you're going past a wall launcher. I don't think it's overly necessary though. Now on these low walls, we're going to go for our wall dynamos as we go through here, literally just on the low walls, and that will do it. On this back wall, we can have wall darts. Just doing these as and where I can. Got some broadside traps here because these walls are facing each other. Here's going to be the wall launcher. On this one, we want a durability one, so make sure you get full durability. Well, I say full durability, but it's, I'll just briefly show you. It's 1 impact, 1 reload, and then 4 durability on that. These walls is where I said you should put sound traps. So I'm just going to use the 130 ones. Forgot to mention at the start, probably should have. I am using 106 traps for this. Oh, that's a 130. You can use 130 and they will be slightly higher level. So if I look at this, it is 106. If I place a wall here real quick and put a 130 on it, it's 116, so you're losing 14 levels. Now it does have 10 more than this, but we're in Plankerton. I think until you get into Canny, I don't think you really need the top level. What you can do here is add another sound trap just as extra, you know, for that. And then under here you can put a ceiling electric field if you want. It's up to you on that one. That is kind of optional. And then as you come up here, we're going to do broadsides. And then on the ceilings, we want ceiling drop trap as they come up the ramp. We'll do this one as well. Now, for this area, it's up to you how you want to go about this. What I'm going to do is do ceiling drop traps sort of in the center, and anywhere we have a hot spot where they might be trying to break through something, I think the tire drop traps are perfect there. And then at the middle here, we will continue these drop traps. Then for the areas where it's sort of to the side. It's a bit more out of the way. So like these ones over here. We're going to use ceiling electric field. Now, as I say, it's up to you what you want to do here. On the edge ones, as I say, we'll do ceiling electric field. In this area, it is deeper, and I think these only go down 2. So on the remainder ones, that's not wall traps, I want ceiling traps. We will place tire drop traps on the remaining of these. And these also act as mitigation for the walls. As I say, you can add them here if you do see action around here. And you can add wooden wall spikes on these if you want. I don't think you'd need them, but if you want to add those, please feel free. Speaking of wooden wall spikes, down here, we'll go ahead and put one on here, if I can get them. And then on these, add them there. Right, that should cover the spawn stuff, so now we can go back to the main tunnels. Bit all over the place, I appreciate that. Level up these side walls as well while we're here. Now, this one here wants to be a ceiling electric field, and then as we've got them, we can go ahead and place the rest of them. So as I say, the rule of thumb with the ceiling traps is if it's looking over spawn in the center, or if it's looking over where the enemies will actually be walking, so this entire path, they want to be drop traps, the tire drop traps. So these 3 would be tire drop traps. Any that are to the side, which basically means if it's not over where the husks will be walking, they want to be ceiling electric fields, because these will zap in to the tunnels and affect them. There's a wall up there that's not fully leveled up. Interesting. So, not that one. Not that one. That's annoyed me a little bit. That one though, this one here, you can see it's not over a place where they've been walking. These 2 are, and then at the sides, at the back here. Now we can place the tire drop traps. So if I get those back out here, we're going to place these all the way down this tunnel. We'll start the other side, actually. It's a bit easier. So you want to be facing the amplifier while they place these, effectively. So I'm going to face that way for that one, actually. Basically, whatever way you're facing, the enemies will get knocked backwards. So as they come up, you want to basically place it in the direction the enemies would be facing. So I'm just going to do that here. Then as they come here, they'll be facing this way. This will then knock them back here. This one will knock them back, and so on. So just make sure you're placing it in the direction I'm looking, effectively. That should cover all the ceiling traps. If you didn't mess up like I did and messed up the ceiling. Then all we have left to do is... that's a 130. I want my 106. I should just put them all in storage, really. On these ones where we have, this sort of blocked off, they want to be wall darts. This here wants to be a wall launcher. Full durability on this one, and that one. This one can probably be high impact. And then basically everywhere you have a wall launcher, we're going to place... that's 130 again. Bad habit of fine. We want broadsides opposite them because they will ping back at... Maybe not this one, obviously, but basically if there's a wall opposite it, it's actually only this one that counts. If you wanted to adjust the build and make this a full wall, for example, you could to get extra broadside damage. Because I do back the broadside as, the best trap in the game. But seeing as though this build isn't really too designed for it, because we've got this extra side damage area stuff, we can't do as much as we would have liked, but that's fine. Right, there you go. I think that's all the traps we need then. Yeah. There you go. Simple as, I guess. I mean, it's been quite long, I'm not going to lie. But that's just because we are, making sure it is fully efficient for absolutely anybody, no matter, how low their perks are and such. So, yeah, I really appreciate you watching, getting to this point. I would love a like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. If you are already subscribed, I appreciate you so much. We have built the south direction for this. There's a lot of south going on. And now we are onto the east direction. But obviously, if you have an amplifier placed down here, you're not going to get spawn here. Please let me know in the comments if that is your situation and you would like me to build or show general areas of how you would build for that. But we're assuming now that you don't have this placed down. So if you do, feel free to click off the video. That's fine. I won't be offended. But I would really appreciate if you did watch it anyway. But you definitely don't need to. Now the husks spawn just behind the amplifier and just around the amplifier area, basically. And this is a shared spawn with the B direction. B direction? The amplifier over there. Amplifier B, which is the east amp. As long as you obviously don't have this placed down. So, the traps here are going to be used twice, which is going to really hinder the endurance of it, obviously, but we also don't want to tinker too much with what we're going to be building in this area. So, what we're going to do is, for this build, we're going to block them from coming up these two ramps over here. I can just get my cones back to normal. Same with this ramp. Just going to stop them. Now, you can add more at the top if you need, and you can even go as far as to put cones behind this, all pointing towards this corner with walls behind them. I don't think you'd need much more, though. And then we can just do, this as extra mitigation for that. So, the main thing we're going to be going for is getting the husks to come up this ramp here. And then as they come up, we will deal loads of damage to them. We can knock them into rooms at the side. We can do damage from this side, however we want to go about it. And we will be damaging the husks that way. And then at the very top, I've opened this wall here. We will just allow them to go in. So, we've covered this flank over here. As I say, you might want to add more protection behind this, but that's fine. Now, something I have built over there is just blocking that ramp to stop enemies from getting on top of this ridge up here. The reason being is flingers and such might get on top to try fling towards the objective. And if we are building a ceiling over the spawn, we don't want them to drop on top of the ceiling. But I can get to that when we get to it. So, yeah, the enemies are going to spawn back there. Now, we don't want them to be able to go into this massive area over here, because they could just stand here and lob up to the objective. So we're going to want to block them from getting... we will have walls, covering this area. So all we need to do now is just block this. Now there is a little ledge there. So what we can do is just put a floor here. And then on this side, we're going to block this anyway, like this. Then what we want to do is just continue this wall across. You can put one there if you want. Doesn't matter too much. And we're just going to bring this wall across here, like that. Now, you can put extra protection behind this. So all I'm going to do for this is just center these like such. In fact, we'll do this one that way. I will just do them all that way. It doesn't really matter. You can have them as straight ramps if you want, or angled. It really doesn't matter that much. And then we're going to do our grid method that we did in Twine and all of the other builds, like this. You probably don't need one here, but I'm just going to put one anyway. And similarly up here, if you want, you can do the same thing. So it would mainly just be this one, right? Because this is high up in the air, like they're not going to be able to get through there. Should you see any resistance to these walls, just add another layer behind, but I really don't think you'll need it. All we need to do now is just have a ceiling over this so they can't fling up. Same for this direction. So we'll build that when we get to, covering the spawn. But for this ramp, I'm actually going to place stuff on the ramps as we go up, which I don't usually do if you've seen my other videos. And then at the top of the ramp, we're going to have a wall here so that we can fling them all the way back down should they get to the top. And that will really, reuse the traps, which will be absolutely beautiful. Then we'll do a wall there. Now for this side, we'll do a low wall like such. And then... it doesn't really matter too much what you do with the floor. I'll probably leave the floor empty. We'll put a wall there, a wall there. Reason being, we can put wall darts on this. You can do it all the way up, to be fair, if you want. But for the main way up, we will probably do something like this. The reason being breaking these is because when we have the wall launcher here, we place a wall, it's going to stop the enemies from flying out. So we're going to leave that open. You could probably put one there. They might also buy into that though. So it's up to you how you want to go about it. what we will probably end up doing is in this top area, we will have ceilings higher up, and then what we can do is, well, we can go without the, you know, the damage there, the wall darts damage. It's only a little bit, but this is way more efficient having a wall launcher here to send them all the way out. And then as we come up here, you might want to avoid doing this because only having a single wall here might have smashers charged through it, for example. So what we might want to do instead is have this fully fortified, and then we can have a wall launcher here, for example. So obviously we're bringing the enemies to the side, to here. We can do wall darts there with that if we want, but I'll probably go for a full wall. Get the floors down, probably do a ramp again. And then at this point we need to block this side, so we'll just do this. And if we get our cones facing inwards like this, it will stop the enemies from being able to break out. Get the grid method going like normally. And then, as I say, this can be a wall launcher again to send them back out. We can have a wall launcher on this one, which will send them here, and then send them back out again. And at the top here, we will allow the enemies to come to the side here, and then this is where they'll go in. So we have this open bit, so the enemies will want to, you know, come up and go around here. So we can just extend their path slightly by doing this. Low wall works as well, you know, like that, or if you want to do that. Either one, I like the tall walls because they look nicer. And then as we bring them here, we'll probably do another wall launcher there to bounce here and there, and then we can just close off this entire bit. Like so. And you can add another, you know, thin wall here, should you like. Perfect. So, the ceilings. Up here, it's up to you. You can do the ceilings at that height and have sort of gas traps, or you can raise them up one from here. Oh god, just saw the light of God then. So yeah, it's up to you. You can put a wall like this, and then, you know, have the ceilings this high up. It's up to you. I think I'm gonna go for this height, and we'll just do pure damage, and then we'll keep it this height as we go through this area. What we can do is these ceilings at the sides can have ceiling electric fields on them to zap in, which will cover this entire area, including these ones. Probably even put one there if you want, but that's probably a little bit overkill. And then as we come to this part, we need to lower the ceiling to make sure that it will affect, you know, the surrounding area, because the tire drop traps only drop 3 tiles. Now in this area, we can again spread these to the side to have more ceiling electric fields, which will only really affect the enemies up here, but that's fine. Then if I can just get back up. For this area, we will just continue this ceiling across. And this is where we're going to cover pretty much the entire spawn, right? So, as I say, from here, we have 2 blocks up here as well. So if you want, you can put ceiling electric fields here. I think that might be a bit overkill, so I'm not going to. But we'll stretch this ceiling around to here. You can even put it all the way around to here as well to cover this. You know, it's up to you whether you want to do that. I don't think they're going to really go for that one as much, so I'm not going to. But this ceiling wants to spread out all this area. As I said before, avoid linking this ceiling too close to, you know, here, for example. If we had it here, the enemies could walk up this ramp all the way up here and then just walk along our trap tunnels. So make sure that's not connected. And then this is now getting into the territory of this direction a bit, so I don't want to go too far with that. So that's why I'm stopping for that direction. Now the corners are a bit finicky, so I think enemies probably could still drop down onto the roof from there. So if you do see issues, get rid of those corner ones. I think it'll be fine because we have blocked the ramp. Probably want to add just a wall to the side of that as well. And you can even go further and, you know, block them from getting up this ramp. What this means is we have less of an issue of them trying to come up and get on the roof, so we can go further to the side. I don't think there's much need to go all the way back here because the spawn is mostly in this central area. So that's up to you. Oops. Oh my goodness. I don't think the enemies can make it onto the roof from there, but just to avoid any issues, I'm going to get rid of that because I am very paranoid about it. Now for this lower area, the ceiling is going to have to be lower down. So what we can do is this one we can do here, and then this can be our start of the ceiling. As I say, this is kind of getting into the realms of the spawn for there. So, you know, I don't want to step on the toes of that build. We can alter it if we need to, but I'm just going to cover this. And ideally we'd want to cover this all the way up to there. So what I'm going to do for this bit is just raise it up. Just so enemies couldn't walk on top. But I mean, if they could walk on top of this roof from here, they'd have got to this amplifier, which, you know, we wouldn't want them to anyway. So, yeah, it's up to you how you want to go about that. But this bit here is mainly just lobber shield, as opposed to the actual traps. Now, this is a lot, obviously. And you can just make another connection here, for example, just to give it more structural support, just in case one wall does go or something. But as you can see, obviously this bit will be covered with amplifier B, but from anywhere here, they can't lob towards the amplifier. The only place they could go is like over here, which they might be able to get an angle towards the amplifier. So what you can do is just block, you know, this area, like so. That adds as an extra protection for the flanking, you know, to these areas. So, you know, you could build it here instead, or as well, and just get this like this. Cover that. And now they can't do absolutely anything. And we've got traps here that cover all of this area. So if they did try break through here, they'd have traps over them, you know, dealing damage to stop them from breaking through. So as I say, it's a lot. I appreciate that's a lot, especially for Plankerton. But, you know, this is an AFK build. Oh, sorry, we need that open for them to be able to walk up this. But yeah, as I say, it's a lot, but it is an AFK build, so it needs to be a lot. So all I'm doing with these ones is I'm going to put wall launchers on these to send the enemies out into this area where they'll get damaged by the traps again. You know, should they wander up this way. There's not a whole lot more you can do. Like, you can put walls here with traps on if you want to shoot into the spawn. Any walls in this area will get destroyed by the tendrils of the spawn. So, as I said, there's not too much more you can do. You can put a wall here with wall darts on, for example. A wall there with stuff on. It's not overly important what you get up to in this area. The main bit is the ramps going up, right? Which is where we're doing most of the damage. So, you know, you can put extra bits here and there for a bit of extra damage. But in the end, it doesn't matter too much. Like, you could, for example, do that. Have wall darts on. The enemies can walk underneath this, and they will make their way around. So you can do a little bit of extra damage that way. But we really don't want to go too over the top. Like, you can put walls on the way up, because in Plankerton there's fewer amps, so we have more structures per amplifier. So you can go a bit more if you want with that. But yeah, the main part of this build is going to be this area up here, which will kill, you know, all the enemies. So I wouldn't worry about that stuff. So that should be everything you need. Just make sure you've covered all the flanks. And then, yeah, I'll level this stuff up and we can place traps down and such. So I will see you very shortly. The anti-air trap 1 range on there for durability. Ceiling drop trap. So we're going for a crit build on this one as well. Ceiling electric field. We're going for a crit build once again, you know it. Floor freeze trap. So for this one, we've got 2 impact and knockback. Floor launcher, so for whacking all the impact and knockback on there. Tar pit trap. So for this one, I like to go for full durability. Wall darts, another crit build, another all-rounder build. The wall dynamo trap. So for this one, I've gone for energy. Wall launcher. So for this one, we've got 3 impact and knockback. Wall lights, so another 3 impact, 2 reload speed. Wall spikes here, we've gone for crit build, so 2 crit rating, 2 crit damage. Wooden floor spikes, so crit build on this one, that's pretty much Kaleidokali. Now that we have that stuff leveled up, we can put the traps down. Something to note real quick is that over there, I just got rid of that extra ceiling that was raised up. I really don't think we need it, they can't aim anything from there. Anyway, should you see any issues though, just put some walls here, that will stop them from being able to do anything. But yeah, I just felt like it was a bit pointless. So we'll start near the amplifier for the traps. So if I can get my 106 traps, because we don't really need it higher than that. We're going to go for tar pits on these. Then as we go up the ramps, I'm going to use the floor spikes, and then tar pits on these, and then once again, wooden floor spikes on the ramps and at the bottom here. Now, as I say, make sure you don't put a floor here because they need to be able to get up this ramp here. I think they probably can't get up here, but I don't know how the AI works on a weird corner like that because it's a bit bit strange. On this bit over here, we're going to put wooden wall spikes with healing on for these, just to make sure that if they did start getting through, that would heal back up. You can put, you know, like wall darts on some of these, but you don't need to do it on all of them. I'd probably just go for that one, and these. Where else can we do wall spikes? This is wall darts, not wall spikes. Probably do one there, and there. On all of these. Quite a lot, actually. Now that I said, you know, don't do it on too many, but we're going to do it on a lot. What you can do instead, though, on some of these is you can get some sound traps going. So probably this one, I'd say, maybe. Get a sound trap going to mitigate those exploders. And then maybe this one. Right next to the ramp. So this one will cover all the enemies that come from this direction. You could put one there. You could put one on one of these. You know, just use your own discretion, obviously. Everyone's different because the exploders are quite random. The waves are random. So it depends what's going to work best for you. So as I say, you might want to replace, say, this one with a sound trap as well. Or have an extra one around here somewhere. Maybe this one you could have as a sound trap. Or even this one, you know, plop one there. Just make sure you have a few around the bottom of the ramp so that the exploders get rid of their canisters before they go up. While we're over here, we can go ahead and put some more wooden wall spikes on with healing. This is a ramp as well, so you probably want to put them on this. It is a bit overkill, I appreciate. It's a lot of extra traps, but we're in Plankerton, so we have plenty of structures, so no need to worry about that. Right, so I'll deal with the rest of this stuff as we go. So probably put one... I'm going to have to break the wall, that's fine. Put one on there, and then I'll probably have to break that one, I guess. And we can do a broadside on that. Then as we come up, broadside on both of these, and then on both of these. We don't need another sound trap, I don't think. The one at the bottom here should act as plenty, I think. And then broadsides on these two. As I said, this one is going to be a wall launcher. Make sure it's a durability one with 4 durability, 1 reload, 1 impact. We can add a thin wall here to give them extra room to move, and one there as well, just to really reinforce them. You know, having to go further so that they get hit by the wall launcher. More likely to, anyway. As I say, you can use other variations of extra walls. You don't have to use the same that I've done. But yeah, on here we can do dynamo, and then at the back we can do wall darts. Then here we'll have wall darts. As we come through here, we want broadsides on both sides here. There's going to be absolutely massive damage. These are going to have to be replaced to get traps on them. Broadsides on these. Wall launcher here. Just make sure we're getting the durability one again. And then for this one, probably switch to a impact one and an impact one there if you want. I don't think that one is as important though. What you can do here, I didn't mean to make a door. What you can do here if you want is you can have a wall launcher here with a side room. That will give you a bit of extra chance, you know, just in case a smasher got here, a mini boss, whatever it might be. For that case you will need an impact one. So we'll put the high impact one there. For here we will have a broadside. Broadside there and there. In here we'll have broadsides on all three sides. The floor, if you have if you have retractable floor spikes, that'll be perfect here. I don't think I actually have that trap. So what I'll probably do is probably go for like a freeze in here or something, or a tar pit trap to keep them in place. I'll probably go for freeze. Let's use a 130 because I don't have any 106 made. And then in the ceiling we will do gas trap. I'm blind, couldn't see it. And then throughout this top bit we're going to use gas traps for the ceilings up to there. You could probably actually do that one as a tar pit trap, a tire drop trap. Apologies, I'm having an aneurysm. Just make sure that when you place it down, you're facing up the ramp so that the enemies get knocked down the ramp when they get hit by it. So that's all the floors and walls here. So we can carry on with these ceilings then. So as I go through here, the center, as before with the other build, we're putting tire drop traps facing the direction the husks will be moving as we place them, to knock them further back, like so. In fact, this one could be that way if you want, it's up to you. Then over here we will do that. This one doesn't really matter as much. As you get a bit further back, it's not totally important. This one I'm going to do as, well, in fact we'll place it down after. But as you go around the amplifier you can place tire drop traps. And then we're getting into sort of this territory of that area now, so we'll just do them that way. For this sort of central one and the edge ones, we'll carry on with tar pit for these. But these ones here we're going to do as ceiling electric field. These ones are a bit more on the edge, so they can zap into the ones here, and the one above the amplifier, the enemies can't walk in the middle, so they'd never get hit by the tire drop trap, so we'll just put a ceiling electric field that can zap out. And that's most of the ceilings done. We just have this bottom area down here, so this one here can be ceiling electric field, same there, because they're never going to stand here, so they wouldn't get affected by tire drop trap. We'll go do the rest of those in a second, but we can do these edge ones around here with ceiling electric field, which will zap into enemies as they come up this main trap tunnel. And now all we have to do is the ones down here. So for these we'll do tire drop trap again, if I can get them equipped, facing this way. For this one we're actually going to face this way because this is going to be for the other amplifier. And then for all these ones down here we will face this way as we place them, because this will act as beneficial for both amplifiers. And then these ones we will face the opposite direction, because these ones we want to knock the enemies away from these walls. But yeah, these ones over here, we're just sort of knocking them into the central area here, because this will mean the most distance for that amplifier and the one we're building for right now. As I say, you can add more walls around here if you wish. So you can place walls at the backs here with wall darts. You could place them here, you know, like these four, if you want. Put wall darts on them. We're going to be having like tunnels and stuff here, so I wouldn't worry about that for now. But yeah, that'll do it then for the amplifier. It's quite a lot. I appreciate that. One thing you might want to do is just place a few more anti-air traps around this sort of area, because we have one on the top and some over those tunnels. You might just want to... Ooh, a ceiling that hasn't been leveled up. You might just want to add, you know, a few around here. They are floor traps, aren't they? Even though they act for the air. That always confuses me. Just like those two or something. You shouldn't really need it. It's just an in case. And yeah, that should cover everything. So yeah, I appreciate you watching the video all the way through. Obviously you have if you've made it to this point. Obviously be sure to like, comment and subscribe if you did find it useful, because you will find all of the other videos useful as well, and that'll help get those pushed out to you as well. Thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned for the future episodes. It's not a series, but you know, well, it's, yeah, I'm going to shut up now. I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.